liquidity. Oh, where my MetaMask go? Stole my keys, where my portfolio go? They took my Tether, they took my DAI, they took my Bitcoin, I'm about to cry. They took my Ethereum, they took my drip. They took my time wonderland, I'm about to quit.
I can't take this anymore, man.
It's a rug pool, I feel like a fool. It's a rug pool, they breaking all the rules. It's a rug pool, I feel like a fool. It's a rug pool, they breaking all the rules.
Okay, I need the price to go up. I can't take this anymore. Every day I'm checking the price and it's dipping. Every day I check the price, bad price. I can't take this anymore, man. I have overinvested by a lot.
It's a rug pool, I feel like a fool. It's a rug pool, they breaking all the rules. It's a rug pool, I feel like a fool. It's a rug pool, they breaking all the rules. It's a rug pool, I feel like a fool. It's a rug pool, they breaking all the rules. It's a rug pool, I feel like a fool. It's a rug pool, they breaking all the rules.
What's a rug pull?
What's up, everybody, and welcome to EMP.Money. My name is AJ, I'm the team lead, and this is our live AMA. We come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. And another awesome intro from Cool Sheets. We played that a few times, but I feel like I had to bring it back today with all the FUD around PulseChain. So we'll talk about that for sure. But before we get into all that and kick off the show, I'd like to welcome my co-host with the most and fellow team member, LA. LA, how are you today?
Oh, hello. I'm good. I've got my co-host, Kika, beside me as well. She's ready.
Nice.
She's raring to go as well. So, yeah, let's do this.
All right, awesome. So yeah, we got another jam-packed episode. But before we get into the first topic, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, all the engagement and the more views on our videos help the ecosystem, ad revenue, and getting the word out goes right back into, supporting EMP and Fusion and Spark and all of our products. So, all right, I think again, oh, and if you have a question as we continue to go, please make sure to post it in the live chat, or you can jump on over to Discord, and we have a dedicated channel where you can leave your questions, or even add them in the comments of the videos after they are live. So I know a lot of you like to listen to the recordings. So, all right, on that note, we're going to jump right in. And this is a question that we had on the last AMA. Well, actually, before we even get to that, I want to give a major shout out, and everybody in the comments, please give her some major love. LA, you uploaded the Fusion YouTube videos, the explainer videos, right after the last AMA on Monday, and we have been getting some incredible feedback. So I just want to say you did an incredible job, and thank you so much for putting out that content. Is there anything you want to talk about? I know there was also a winner, but we may get to that later on.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to announce that. Yeah, no, I'm just really excited that we now have a simplified way of understanding the whole Fusion ecosystem. My main goal was to help everyone understand that even though there might be a little bit of a learning curve at the beginning, when it comes down to it, after you have everything initially set up, Fusion is going to be so much easier and more hands-off than the existing ecosystem. But because it's such a change and there's a lot of moving parts and pieces, it can seem very overwhelming and confusing. So my goal with those videos was to simplify the process and just make it fun and easy to understand and kind of lighthearted. And I think it was mission accomplished. And we'll get into it. But this week we've been diving into the more nitty-gritty, complex parts of the white paper for those of you who want to get into the more detailed, complex parts of the system as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely, LA. Again, I think, it's something that we've been working on for a while now. We've had a lot of feedback of people think that Fusion is too confusing, whether, they speak a different language or they just have a hard time comprehending the written explanation. I think the visual explanation, again, I'm a visual learner myself, so I think it was super helpful and we've gotten nothing but amazing feedback on all those videos, which again is a really good sign that not only are people hyped for Fusion that are already here in the ecosystem, but it could be a great onboarding tool, for people that say, how do I get involved? Now you can just send them right to the playlist. And again, we could spend a whole AMA just going over those videos, but they are available on our YouTube channel. So the same YouTube channel you're watching now, just go to the regular videos rather than the live videos, and you can watch them in order. There's a total of 6. So, all right, awesome. We'll talk a little bit more about
And
it at
if
the
you
end. Yeah,
have any comments on typos or sound production, I've opened a Discord channel specifically for your comments. Go ahead and look for it and post them there. There's no need to post them anywhere else. It's just a special Discord channel just for those of you who want to leave negative feedback on the video series. I made that just for you guys. So go ahead and look for it. It might be a little bit difficult to find, but you'll find it if you look hard enough.
all right, awesome. There you go. Right on, LA. All right, so we're gonna jump right into eShare. This was something that was brought up on the last AMA, and we were running out of time, and really it deserved its own highlight anyway, because I still think people are sleeping on the potential that eShare has moving into Fusion. So the number one question is, where do we see the price going? So I mean, again, we as a team cannot really discuss price, predictions and where we think the price is going to go. Again, a lot of other teams will tell you that we're going to moon, and give, what I perceive as financial advice. We're not that team, so we can't really tell you where it's going to go. What we can tell you is that we have a ton of mechanisms in place to have the price of eShare go up. So I think right now, we've seen full capitulation, obviously because eShare doesn't have a use case other than the staking pool, because the boardroom, isn't printing. That's when you see eShare go down. And so I think a lot of people that have wanted to exit have. We've actually seen eShare already starting to bounce a little bit. And on top of that, we purposely reduced some of the liquidity on eShare, so it will be very difficult to, get positions in eShare, large positions rather, without moving the price a ton. So all that is on purpose, and once Fusion is out, we will absolutely be adding more liquidity to eShare because that is the only transactable token in the ecosystem. So again, we shift the focus from EMP, where EMP really is just your entry into Fusion. Again, the amount of EMP that you sacrifice gives you your ownership of the protocol. But after that, all the economic energy is put onto eShare. And again, eShare is the one-to-one equivalent of energy within Fusion. And so all the transactions under the hood, both buying and selling of batteries, of different cash outs when you actually get your rewards, we're actually selling the eShare under the hood to pay out people. So there is a ton of buying and selling volume on eShare, and typically the more economic energy within a token and the more use case, the more value it has. So that is all of the different mechanisms we're using to support eShare. And there's also some game theory behind it. The eShare can also be used um, to give you a power pack, which will help you get ahead in Fusion a little bit more. Again, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, please read the white paper. But it's a way to kind of boost your rewards, so that will give eShare value. We're able to direct the revenue that we generate as well, not only into rewards, but into potential eShare as well. So the game plan is especially early on, a lot of the revenue will be used to regain peg, and then once peg is achieved, because of all the mechanisms we put in place, we feel like peg is going to be extremely solid, without any additional, economic pressure. And so we can then divert all the revenue streams that we talk about to paying rewards in Fusion, and supporting the price of eShare. So all of those things combined really make eShare extremely powerful. And because eShare is still liquid, again, you can convert that into energy through the power pack, but eShare will still function as a token, and it really is a speculative token based on the health of the ecosystem. So, if you think that Fusion is going to do well, and that there is a lot of volume going through eShare, um, then you can speculate that the price of eShare will go up. And so there's some game theory in that, on top of it all. Obviously, I think it's more beneficial to sacrifice early, and get your position in Fusion. But there is an argument to be made that you could even hold on to your eShare, and hope that the price appreciates, and then use that to sacrifice even more into Fusion. So there's no right or wrong answer, but there's a ton of different ways to play the game, so to speak. So I have a few more bullets, but LA, do you want to elaborate on any of what I just said?
I was kind of more excited to elaborate and go into the next part because we were just talking about it the other day on the phone and pretty jacked up about it.
Yeah, so, and this is again, we're all excited. And I think it's something that people are still not remembering, or just, weren't aware of, and that is the halving model. So, the other really, really important part of this economic system is that, if you remember, about, I don't know, almost a year ago now, it's crazy to think that, we migrated eShare, to be a halving model token. What that means is it follows the same principles as Bitcoin. So even though eShare is still inflationary at the moment, over time, every year, the inflation is cut by half. So coming up in February, or January, end of January, early February, right, LA? I don't know the exact date. I'm so bad. But at our next anniversary, uh, we will actually cut emissions by a half. So rather than emitting about 60 e-share per day, we are now only emitting 30 e-share per day. And so what that does is really, again, multiplies all those positive effects because there's a lot less tokens being produced. And so, 2 or 3 years from now, after multiple halvings, there may only be one e-share, emitted. And so when that happens, again, you're essentially becoming deflationary. And we said this many times, is that even some of the marketplace fees and other parts within Fusion, we will absolutely divert some of that those fees to buy and burn eShare. And so, with the halving model, eShare becomes deflationary very quickly in the grand scheme of things. And, we can even do that much faster, the more volume we have in Fusion. So I'm really bullish about that because, it again, it gets rid of the inflation, and really helps the price of eShare go up. And on top of all that, eShare is already a very low supply token. So as of it is right now, I think there's still under 60,000 eShare in existence. And by the time the halving model goes through, I mean, we're still talking well under 75,000 tokens total. And that is a very low, supply for any token. And typically, the lower the supply, the higher the token price in terms of dollar value. So there's so many things that make eShare really, exciting for the future. So yeah, again, Ella, you want to add to that?
Yeah, we've seen, I mean, for those of you who are around at the beginning, we've seen just how much movement can be on eShare, how quickly. At the beginning, eShare used to go up and down and up and down and up and down almost daily, if not, every couple days, every few days. And there's a lot of game theory involved in it, and there's a lot of opportunity. And now with Fusion coming into the mix and how vital of a role that eShare is going to play, and with the halvening coming, there's just so many factors at play that are going to be adding to the value of eShare. And we were on the phone the other day and just getting really jacked up about it because not to forget that eShare very much has an effect on the APRs as well. And we very much, at least our personal opinions, not to be taken as any prediction for the future, but we very much so believe that eShare is going to rise significantly in price, which is going to have a really good effect on the APRs. Is that a fact? No. Is that our personal opinions? Yes. But there's just so many different pieces that are contributing to us feeling that way. The halvening being one of them, Fusion and how vital eShare is being another one, and then just the pure game theory behind it and the momentum and the liquidity and how quickly it will be possible for that price to rise once people start buying back in. So
Yeah, I love that, LA. And you brought up two really good points as well that I just want to elaborate on before we wrap up this section. Number one is the APR. So again, Fusion operates just like the farms do now, where not only are we supplementing the yield with real yield, but a lot of the yield you're getting from the your microgrid and through the central grid is based on that, the e-share that's emitted or energy in Fusion's case. So what happens is even with the halvening, yes, APRs will take a hit because there's half as much energy being, given as rewards. However, that is a double-edged sword, and this is where LA and I were getting excited because, when the supply or the emissions are cut in half, typically you see at least a double in actual price of that token. So what happens is even though the APR takes a hit when the emissions are cut in half, they actually go up shortly thereafter because the token value goes up. So as of just to apply that to the math today, we see eShare again just for rough numbers. Say eShare is $20. If eShare goes to $40 and we cut the emissions in half, you're still getting the exact same APR and it results in a higher token price. So again, that is a really key fundamental that is bullish for the halvening model and why we, are moving in this direction. And the last point was, which we really haven't talked about a lot, and it won't be in the white paper, but it may be, in a future white paper update, is that there are also plans to make eShare a governance token, where, if you are a community and you want to add, a cash out battery for your project, not only do you have to, lobby to our community, but you may have to actually own some eShare or burn some eShare to make that happen. So just like we're going to apply that same sort of concept to Spark, we definitely want to apply that to eShare as well. So there are so many things that we can add to eShare once Fusion is up and running to give it even more value and continue to, reduce the supply over time. So, yeah, really, really awesome stuff. I think that was a lot of the bullet points, LA, but was there anything else you wanted to talk on before we move to the next topic?
Oh, and just an aside to that, I know that the eShare price has not been displayed properly on CoinGecko for quite some time, and I've been going back and forth with my contact there, and I just wanted to let you guys know I'm finally making some headway with her. She's finally figured out what the issue was, so it looks like that's finally going to be getting solved pretty soon, so it won't be displaying a price that's higher than it actually is. So that's some good news there.
Perfect. Yeah, and with all this talk of eShare, please make sure you're buying the right eShare. Again, don't fall for scams. Don't buy the old eShare token. Make sure that you find the contract address on our Telegram or Discord or the website itself, and you're buying through PancakeSwap, and all the proper channels. So, yeah, just one more quick safety note. But all right, awesome. Well, again, I think eShare has a very bright future. None of this is financial advice. Obviously, the market will, bear what the market bears, and if there's a lot of value and demand with eShare, that typically results in a great price. So, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that that happens for sure. So, all right, we're going to move on now to Spritz. Again, this is another one of my favorite topics. If you guys don't know what Spritz is, I cannot explain to you how incredible of a product Spritz has. They are an on and off ramp service. So if you're using, Coinbase or any of the big guys, Cash App, Gemini, any of those, you're doing it wrong. There's so many better options now, especially now that we have seen Spritz is expanding their services within the UK and Europe. So they sent out another email today or this week, earlier this week, that they're expanding their region even more. So if you live in that area, please make sure that you check and see if you've received an email. If you're not already subscribed or registered with Spritz, please make sure that you create an account with our affiliate link. We're a top, I think by now we're a top five. I know we were a top 10, but we're now a top five referrer volume. So definitely give it a shot. I know I personally use Spritz. Again, I know LA does as well. And like I said, it's now offering off-ramp services. So typically you could only, uh, I'm sorry, on-ramp. So typically you could only off-ramp with Spritz, but now you can on-ramp as well. So, and on top of all that, their debit card is killer too. So now both the debit card and off-ramping can be available in those particular regions. So the on-ramp, again, I don't know if it's available in all regions, but the off-ramp is definitely now expanded. So again, Ella, you want to
Yep.
elaborate a little bit on that? Go ahead.
Yep. So the on-ramping is only available in the US right now, and there's a few US states it's still not available in, one of them being Florida.
Yes.
Um, the but US and Canada have pretty much all of the services, the debit card, the bill payment, on and off ramping. Now they had expanded to 12 plus other countries, including UK and Australia and a handful of European countries. And initially that was just for the debit card. And now, as of this week, they've started to expand to some of their UK and European customers to offer them off ramping. So I believe that they are emailing a select user base to begin with so that they can test things out and make sure there's no bugs before they open it up to their full user base in those regions. So check to make sure if you got an email and if you're one of the Spritz customers who has those the off ramping capabilities at this time. If not, I would imagine you're going to get those full capabilities soon.
Yeah, no doubt, LA. And again, just as an aside, Those of you might remember my crypto accountant, Neil. We're going to have him back on the channel as well. I finally convinced him to use Spritz, and he said it was the best thing he's ever done. So again, that's just the secondary testimonial about Spritz from an actual crypto-focused accountant. They are incredible. They do require a small KYC, but it is the best option, again, in my opinion, that is out there. So, and by using our link, you're also supporting the protocol because those affiliate fees will go back into Fusion as well. So, LA, do you have the link? Oh, you did. You posted it in the live
Yep.
chat, right? Okay.
Yep.
And if they're listening to this recording, you can also find that link in our Telegram and Discord, right?
And in the description of the YouTube video as well.
Perfect. All right. Awesome. So yes, give Spritz a try. And oh, one last note too. Again, more alpha for all of you. I know some of you may have already heard this. We dropped an alpha bomb a few weeks ago, but we have every intention of actually including Spritz and their widget into Fusion itself. So the idea, again, we get into some very gray area regulatory wise. If we were able to offer an on-ramp directly, so we can't do that. We have to use a third-party service. And so the goal is to actually have a widget within EMP Fusion where you can onboard fresh capital through the on-ramp, again, bearing that it's available in your particular country or region. But it will be a direct way to have people onboard new capital into Fusion without having to worry about, buying ETH, bridging it to BNB, then buying buying EMP or sacrificing BNB directly in. So it eliminates a ton of different steps. And when you do finally take profit, there's a great way to off ramp as well. So that's super bullish. We have a great relationship with the Spritz team. Their CEO is an amazing guy, and we are working with them hand in hand. So again, that won't be part of the MVP with Fusion. That should be sometime early, or right after Fusion launches. So all right, awesome. LA, anything else about Spritz?
It's amazing. If you haven't signed up yet, why?
Yeah, totally. All right, awesome. All right, now on to Sparkswap. So, again, there's definitely been some interesting times on Pulse. I think, we've started to see a bit of capitulation. PLS has been on a bit of a dump. But all things considered, even though we are bonded so hard with the PLS liquidity, we have still maintained pretty well. And above all the other community projects, especially those that did, multiple large figure sacrifices, we have avoided all of that. Again, not to start any drama or talk shit about other protocols. We really want everybody to succeed. But when you do large pre-sales, it is almost imperative, it's almost guaranteed that the token will dump. I mean, just based on, again, the supply and demand, when everybody gets in through a sacrifice, um, they have no choice but to dump, especially after having to hold on to their tokens for, 2 years or whatever it might be. And so we pride ourselves on not doing that. Every single protocol that we have launched has been a fair launch. We do not do any pre-sales. We don't do any sacrifices. The sacrifice into Fusion is a bit of a different concept, and we use that word on purpose, just again for potential regulatory issues. But all the EMP is already in existence, so it's a much different situation, even though we use the same word. But again, that has really shown why Spark is so different and why we've been able to hold up so well, while a lot of the other protocols on Pulse, and admittedly, a lot of the really key protocols that everybody was hyped about have not been doing too good. And so, what I do want to say is this is all part of the cycle where, you have to have people dump, you have to shake out the weak hands. Obviously it sucks and it is a bit concerning, but over the long run, I'm still as bullish on Pulse as I ever was because not only is it, a community, a built-in community, but there is a ton of money that is involved, that I don't think is just gonna. In other words, it's at the point where it's almost too big to fail. So, obviously with the Richard Hart drama and the SEC, that is a big, rainy cloud over our party. But once that is, settled, or at least we have a game plan on how to, you know, make Pulse more, more regulated and again, in a as a decentralized way as possible, I think that will do wonders for the token. I mean, a great example is XRP. They were in a lawsuit with the SEC for, I think, years, and the token just did nothing but dump. And as soon as the SEC lost, and there was some sort of resolution, XRP is back flying again. So I do think again it's all part of the crypto cycle. Yes, it sucks to see things go down, but on top of all of this, and again, I know I'm going over a lot here, it's really an opportunity for us, and we've almost been given this opportunity on a silver platter because we're one of the only projects that's actually building legitimate DeFi and offering actual use case on Pulse. And so what happens is we're automatically able to capture market share just because there's not a lot of options left. And I think that once things do recover, we will be positioned as one of the, if not the top protocols on Pulse. So even though things seem to be crumbling around us, that means that we're one of the only people left, and that's super bullish in terms of market share and user adoption. So, all right, I know that was a lot. I know I have more bullet points here, but LA, do you want to elaborate on any of that? I had to kind of vent a little bit.
Well, one thing that you didn't mention is um, the team. As much as I don't necessarily want to toot our own horns,
For sure.
AJ and I say this all the time. Like, nobody does things like we do, and a big part of that is our community. We have a community unlike anyone else out there as well, and you guys are our number one inspiration for working as hard as we do. We don't like to take breaks. AJ said it himself. He doesn't like to take vacations because he comes back and he works twice as hard.
Exactly.
We
All
don't
the catch up. Yeah, yeah.
we don't like taking breaks. We like working hard. We like making progress. We like growing. We like reaching our goals. Um, but nobody we don't see anyone else doing things the way that we do. And that makes a big difference. You can create something that seemingly on the outside looks almost identical, and try to imitate, but if you don't have that magic sauce, you don't have it. It's not going to be the same. And so we take a lot of pride in what we've created and what we've built, because it is magic, it is different, and it is going to stand the test of time because we're going to stand the test of time and we're not going anywhere. And we only keep adding to our timeline and our roadmap and getting more excited about new things we come up with, and ways that we want to expand and grow and make things better, and ways that we can help the community thrive even more and win together even more. And so, um, regardless of what else is going on out there, it happens all the time where AJ is like, hey, did you notice this and this protocol did this? And I'm like, no, I've got tunnel vision on what we're building. I'm focused on where we're going. It's not that I'm not noticing what else is going on in the grand scheme of things, but I'm so focused on what we're building and where we're going, and I've got my laser vision on it, that oftentimes I don't notice the drama of what else is going on, you know,
sure.
that's here and there. But yeah, so just wanted to add that.
Yeah, no doubt, LA. And again, we try to be as humble as we can. That's just not part of my personality or LA's personality or really anybody on the team for that matter. But you know, the proof is in the action, and you know, I know that over time. I mean, again, Spark is still only a few months old, so you know, we have to just let the market do what it does. We have to continue to deliver, and then regain our reputation just like we did with EMP by action and never giving up and continuing to deliver. And it's already happening. I mean, a lot of the larger Pulse influencers that are here for the right reasons, you know, they sing praises of Spark, and that's super bullish again for the long term of what we're doing. So I wanted to highlight a few more things with Sparkswap, and then we can move on. But one thing, again, just to reiterate, on especially talking about price. It's always been about yield with Spark, not about the price. So I know that sounds very, you know, sketchy or foreign to a lot of you, especially if you're more of a degen mindset. You know, when you hear somebody say the price doesn't matter, that's usually a red flag. But in our case, it's the truth because we are actually producing a yield generating token where you make far more money from the yield that Spark produces than the price appreciation of the token. So again, I think that I cannot. If you once you understand that concept, you will absolutely kill it in crypto. So unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that concept, and so you know, it's how the richest people in the world. I said kill it in crypto. That's how you kill it. Period. The richest people in the world, they you know have income producing assets, whether it's a business or you know a real estate, a rental income, anything that produces income. And adds to your cash flow, you know, that's how you get ahead. And so we apply those same concepts through Sparkler, you know, continually buying Spark as it goes down to keep up with dilution and putting it in Sparkler to earn yield is a great way. However, I know a lot of you don't have, you know, an endless supply of new funds, and you should never invest more than you can afford or afford to lose. So that's why it's so important to be in the farms because the farms will actually produce your Spark to feed Sparkler. So again, you know, we have our infinite money loop diagram that we share. The idea is that you're taking your Spark and putting it into Sparkler rather than selling it, and then taking profit through Pulse. Again, you're rewarded in Spark PLS LP. You can break the LP and keep the Pulse and put Spark right back into Sparkler. So, and another really bullish thing is when the market does dump, and we see a lot of people exiting, your dilution is actually a lot less. Meaning, you know, you can build a bigger position in the farms in terms of LP at a cheaper price because the token price is down. And on top of that, you know, all the buyback from the fees, again, we sell our ink rewards to buy Spark and PLS to make the LP. We're able to buy a hell of a lot more Spark and PLS than we were when the token price is a lot higher. So all of that combines into you know a healthy ecosystem where the inflation doesn't really impact the price that much. And remember, we're gonna eventually flip the switch on the Spark inflation as well, and Spark will no longer be inflationary. We had a question about that today. When does that happen? The short answer is whenever we are making enough fees in the protocol that we can reward Sparkler and LP providers from fees alone, that is when we will transition. So there's no definite answer, but the more volume and the more adoption that Spark and SparkSwap gets, the sooner we can go to a deflationary model. So, all right. Again, I hope that helped educate everybody on the winning strategy. Again, we are incredibly close to launching the new features as well. I mentioned it a little bit on the AMA on Monday. Unfortunately, we're still not ready, but we have had the beta testers testing on testnet. Well, actually on mainnet, but on a test server. So that was exciting, right, LA? I don't know if you want to add to that. They've been killing it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've had our our beta testers at work, and everything's going smoothly so far. So we're getting very close, and couldn't be more excited to get those new features out. I think you guys are going to be really pumped.
Yeah, no doubt. These are some features that all of you have been asking for, and it will open up the code base to add even more bullish features uh, in the coming weeks. So that's really exciting. And on that note, well, I think we're going to get into it here in a minute, but um, the bridge. There was some downtime on the bridge last night, but we were able to fix it no problem. Again, shout out to the mods. That Stinky is a machine. He's always available. So again, just remember that the bridge is absolutely bulletproof, and when the bridge goes down, 99% of the time it's a node issue, and we just have to restart, the indexing. So, uh, unfortunately, it always happens that we have an issue, in the middle of the night, where our devs they're asleep in the time zone they're in. So just bear with us. If it does happen, in that time frame, your funds are SAFU. It just may take us a while to get things back up and running. But yeah, again, LA, you were more involved in all that. Is there anything you want to add? Again, Stinky killed it. So
Yeah, I know it can be a little bit scary when you've bridged funds and it gets stuck. I think all of us have been there at one point or another, but just keep in mind, you know us, and there'll never be a situation where your funds aren't safe. And so, um, as much as we make it seem like it, we do sleep. And so sometimes, unfortunately, these things happen at like the worst possible timing. Last night, it all happened to happen like right in the middle of the night. So, um, very thankful that Stinky is so helpful and is on the other side of the world because he really held down the fort. Um, but our Debs were on it bright and early this morning, getting it fixed, and everyone's funds went through, as soon as they started working on it. So that just shows, we'll always get things taken care of. So not to fret if there are ever small little bumps along the way.
yeah, no doubt. And the bridge has been working flawlessly. I mean, even with I think last night was probably the longest downtime that we've had. But even with that, the uptime is still 99%. I mean, we've been absolutely crushing it, and the volume on the bridge is crushing it as well. So we're still averaging between 50,000 and $100,000 a day in volume. So again, everything is looking great, and that's just the beginning. Once we roll out these upgrades that we were teasing, all of that will add to more, a better user experience, more volume, more adoption, and that means more fees and more support to Sparkler and Spark ultimately. So, all right, awesome. And then one more quick shout out. I also want to just highlight all of you. For those of you that are a little more in the know, Omnis is up and running. So from the guys at Tetra, they're another incredible project on Pulse. Again, one of the good guys for sure that have just been heads down grinding and coding and delivering. Tetra is they do a lot. So, but they're a DEX aggregator. They are a smart contract automator, and now Omnis is a limit order service where you can actually place limit orders on PulseX and eventually Sparkswap. So they take the dexes that are providing liquidity and they allow you to place a limit order on those dexes. So and so that's also super bullish. Not only is it a great feature for them, and building really cool stuff on Pulse, but it's also great for us because again, through their DEX aggregator, they are going to be, potentially driving a lot more traffic to Sparkswap pairs. So all that's really exciting. Again, go give those guys some love. Tetra is the name of the overall project, but Omnis is where you want to go to do limit orders. So, all right, awesome. I think that was it in terms of Spark and Pulse ecosystem. Again, LA, anything you want to add before we move on to a few more topics and then Q&A?
No, I think that's it.
All right, so Fusion, again, I mentioned at the top of the show that we had some really great feedback on the videos, but LA, do you want to announce a winner that we have picked and what that
Yes.
what maybe even drop, I don't know, maybe we won't drop what the Easter egg was, but it's pretty hilarious. So yeah, go ahead, LA. Yeah.
The funniest part is I had no idea how many random objects were in those videos.
Yes, they
People
were.
were pulling out all kinds of things like there's a wizard, there's a hat on a shelf. Like there's all these things. I didn't even notice some of the things because the other things like made sense with what was being said on the voiceover in that moment. So I would have never they would have never stuck out to me because they made sense and they fit, But this object, which was the refrigerator,
Yes, I love it.
was intentionally completely random because it was when we were talking about batteries, which have nothing to do with fridges.
Yeah, and that's they're making your cold hard cash, right, LA? Maybe that's it.
Exactly. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our winner was Stanley. So congratulations, Stanley. I'm going to be reaching out. You have won 1,000 EMP, which is going to be a really nice addition to your sacrifice for Fusion. I'm really excited for you. I don't believe that you've won any of our prizes before, so that's really exciting to have a new winner. And yeah, you did a great job. I could tell that you were actually watching all the videos because I could see the comments popping up in the right length of time for each video. um, and yeah, I could tell that you really, took the content in and left comments that really reflected that. So I'm excited for you, Stanley. Congratulations. And, for everyone who watched, there were some good guesses in there, and I think it was a lot of fun. So I'm glad we did this.
Yeah, no doubt, LA. I love it. It was a great community engagement event. All of you that participated, thank you. I do want to give a special shout out to Jerusik, man. That guy is on it. He found our playlist before we even posted. So unfortunately, he was disqualified, but we can always count on Jerusik to kill it. And he's a great guy. He also helps with our notes. So yeah, Ella and I were joking.
Yes.
Of course, Jerusik found it, right? Yeah, so
I think Darusik is secretly a CIA agent because he
yes,
always finds things secretly. He's very good at that.
totally. So yeah, congratulations, Stanley. Again, a long-term supporter, but yeah, I don't think he has ever won, so that's cool. And we'll be sending you your EMP. So please, again, scammers, we already know who it is. We're reaching out. Don't imitate him. And don't, Stanley, if you're listening, don't respond to anybody but LA or I. So, all right, awesome. And yeah, there were a number of questions in the videos, which was great, and so we've compiled them, and we will answer them at the end here during Q&A. But if you continue to have some questions or want clarification from those videos, please make sure you post in the Discord AMA question area, and we can get to it for sure. So, All right, one more thing, LA, I'll let you take this one too. We've been killing it on the next version of the white paper. LA and I had about a 3-hour meeting yesterday and made some major headway. So you want to talk about that? Go ahead.
Yeah, the funny thing is, when we started working on it again yesterday, we forgot that we had already done another huge major pass on it probably like a month ago. And we're like, oh, we already did all this.
For sure.
And so we took it to a whole new level yesterday. In my personal opinion, I think we made it way better, and just it flows much better. It's easier to understand. It has more information in it, and basically we've taken it 95% of the way. It has 95% of the information. And then right before launch, there's going to be a V3 white paper. And the only thing that's different in the V3 will be some of the details that involve math and testing. So some of the details like the battery prices and that kind of thing, we don't have in there yet. They are fully finished, but we do want to just include those in our final testing that is going to happen right before sacrifice. And so those details will be released in a final version, which will be right before launch. So, but you will have the V2 version by the end of next week. We did finish it today. We are going to get some of our VIPs to look it over and catch any errors or comment on anything that needs to be added. And then we're going to have Mike, our graphic designer, take it and turn it into a beautiful masterpiece. And then we aim to have it out by the end of next week. I think that should give us enough time to have it finished. So
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's super bullish. And again, like LA said, we were going over it even again after we had already gone over it. And just now that we have been able to do further development, we've been able to do more testing, we've been able to do more math. All of the vague information that we did the best we could in the original white paper is so much more concise. And just listening to everybody's feedback over the last few months, like being able to really dial it in, where I think this next white paper will be super bullish because just like the videos, it makes it much more easy to understand. We have a lot more information that we didn't have in the original white paper. And like I said, there will be one more version, but those are just really minor additions in terms of the overall scope that really just rely on math because we have to make sure that all the numbers work in you can do a test environment and you can do quants all you want, but until you're actually testing live, a lot of those numbers may end up changing. So we just don't want to put something out preemptively and then have to change it. So it's better if we just do that once, and that will be after the actual testing. And really, the vast majority of that is battery prices. And we said a lot, I know a lot of you want that information, but we're talking, tens of dollars, not hundreds of dollars, on battery prices. So again, I don't think it's going to be a major shock to anybody. It's going to be very affordable, and again, super bullish on making sure you have the batteries in your wallet or in your microgrid. I'm listening to the videos, Ellie, and I want to call it a wallet. So that really allow you to capitalize on taking profit in many ways. So
for sure. And just one final note on that, just in the name of making things the least amount complicated as possible and keeping it as short as possible, anything in there that we read from our previous version that was even the slightest bit confusing or that just simply was fluff that didn't need to be in there was either deleted or changed so that it's completely concise and much easier to understand. So we're really hoping that this next version really knocks it out of the park.
yeah, absolutely, LA. Again, we obviously in the original version we wanted to over-explain, but sometimes over-explaining can make things even more confusing. So this new version, we cut all the fat, and we are gonna drop it like it's hot. So, all right, awesome.
Yes.
All right, you ready to move on to Q&A, LA? Finally, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, so the first whole part of these questions are ones that were left in the comments on the explainer videos. So we're going to start with those, and then I've also compiled some of the ones you've left on Discord and in the YouTube comments tonight. And in the meantime, if you can think of any others, just leave them here on YouTube and we will get to them. So the first one, are batteries random in their attributes upon minting?
Yeah, I love this question. So, yeah, the answer is no. All the attributes on the batteries will be something that you can count on. So, unlike, a generative NFT that there's kind of luck involved, that you hope you get, a good battery, these are just standard, one battery costs X. And then as you upgrade your battery, there will be an increasing price structure. So again, not to give away too much alpha, but you will be able to upgrade your batteries as well, and that will be a set price increase per battery. So they're not random or anything like that, but they are different depending on what battery you're buying and how big of a battery or how much you're upgrading that particular battery. But I do like the idea of like a random attribute battery. Maybe we can do a raffle battery that gives you some random attributes. I like that idea as well. So great question.
Awesome. So are battery configurations set up like claiming schedules that allow you to trigger its output while customizing its payout size?
Yes. So again, the short answer is yes. So, but it's all determined on your power cycle. So you can't necessarily, you know, say that you want to be paid out half when the battery is only half full. So the battery does have to completely cycle, or again, and that means that the power fills the battery completely. And again, in the UI, it'll show you all of this. So you can plan on what day the power cycle might happen. Again, you can buy power packs to make the power cycle happen faster. There's a lot of different things that will, impact your battery and when it triggers. But once it does trigger, that is another, function. So once the battery is full, you will have to trigger the the payout, so to speak. And that's when you get, again, if it's an ETH battery, then your energy gets converted to ETH, and that goes right into your wallet. So we are confirming all of that again in testing. The plan is to have it go right to your wallet, and not be part of your actual microgrid, which again was a little confusing in some of the original white paper verbiage. But yeah, does that answer that question, LA?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and it will be another cool part is that you can have multiple batteries, and you will be able to configure your power filling. Again, I don't know how to say the right words, but
Mm-hmm.
where yeah, does that make sense, Elliot? Where
Your
yeah, there
allocations,
you go,
yeah.
perfect. So yeah, say you had again, just to give an example, say you had three batteries, an ETH battery, an ETH cash out, a BNB cash out, and a detonator battery. So you could put them in the order of what battery you want to fill first, and then the next battery will start filling automatically, so you don't lose any rewards. I mean, you don't lose any rewards anyway because the leftover energy will go to your BBE, the buyback and earn. But if you want to maximize your withdrawals, you want to go into a battery. And so you can do it in sequential order where they fill in a row, or you can have the battery split, or have the power split between all your batteries evenly.
Mm-hmm.
So like it would take a lot longer for the cycles, but you're filling it at the same time. So yeah, again, LA, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to add to that. Yeah.
No, that's it. And then just because you have batteries doesn't mean you have to have them all turned on at the same time. So you can toggle them on and off based on your goals and your strategies for the game and what you're trying to accomplish. So there's lots of ways to play the game and a lot of strategies and fun to be had.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, that's a whole nother, and I'm so excited for this to go live because I think the community will be super engaged in that sort of, strategy talk where, maybe when Bitcoin, again, this is a great example. And again, I think somebody asked this in the comments, in the live chat about a Bitcoin, battery. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much alpha, but there will probably be a battery for every possible blue chip that you can imagine. So Bitcoin would definitely be one of those. And in LA's example, with Bitcoin pumping, like we've seen the last few days, or weeks even now, maybe you want to have that Bitcoin battery. You want that bad boy filling up, fast. But when Bitcoin drops, you can turn the Bitcoin battery off, and put the ETH battery on because ETH is going up. So there's a ton of game theory even on that simple process of what battery to fill first. So yeah, it's really exciting.
It's going to be really fun.
Totally. I'm so looking forward to it.
Here's another one. Are the prices for batteries found on the marketplace set by the user selling it, or is it a fixed cost? Like when you're selling part or all of your position?
Yeah, so that's an amazing question. So, again, this is subject to change, but everything I've said today is subject to change, but I'm just giving it to you how it's all set up at the moment. Um, the idea is that you can only buy batteries from the marketplace that we put out. However, when you sell your microgrid, you can choose to sell your entire microgrid with the batteries that are with it. So if you're selling a portion of your microgrid, then the batteries don't transfer. But if you're selling your entire microgrid, then the batteries will just come with it. So and all that will be in the UI of the marketplace. And obviously, you'll be able to set the price of your microgrid when you sell that. Um, but you won't, you most likely won't be able to sell your batteries individually because, again, that is part of the revenue stream of Fusion itself.
Yes. Um, and we do have some information on that in the white paper that's going to be coming out. So
Yeah, the white paper does a much better job at explaining it than what I just did, but I think I answered that question. So yeah,
yeah,
and again, I mean, all of that is subject to change, but as of right now, that's how we're gonna go with it.
yeah. So basically, what we wrote in the white paper is that you're able to set the price yourself. You can sell it for less than the the price of what you have in it, but you can't sell it for more. Is that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
And that helps again, just making it fair. Because if you're gonna sell it for more, then you're better off just buying EMP and sacrificing it. Like the whole
Mm-hmm.
idea is that if you're buying a microgrid, you're trying to get a deal. And the person selling the microgrid, again, exiting the platform, you're gonna have to realize that you may have to take a little bit less than market value, but you get completely liquid. So there's a give and take. I mean, just like any NFT platform out there, it's the same sort of economics involved.
For sure. Okay, here's another one. For the DOS contracts, will the energy price being 1-to-1 with eShare increase eShare price?
So for the DOS contracts, will the energy price being 1-to-1 with eShare increase eShare price? So
I'm
yeah,
not sure why it was for the DOS
yeah,
contracts,
that's what's
but
throwing me off. That's why I read it again. So the short answer is, I mean, the DOS contracts, other than Reactor, that's the only thing that even matters with eShare. So I guess in terms of that, the answer is yes. I mean, if eShare goes up in price, then Reactor will pay better. But in terms of, I think what they meant overall that yeah, the 1-to-1 price of energy in eShare, it will fluctuate. So the idea is that when the power cycles happen, it's the exact spot price of whatever eShare energy is at that particular moment, and the dollar value, everything within, and we've mentioned this a few times as well, but just to reiterate, everything within Fusion is actually calculated in dollar values because it gets to be way too much to have to, calculate token price and then convert, or I'm sorry, token a volume and convert that into, an actual token price, and then make sure that that happens in real time. So everything still is calculated in dollar value. Again, batteries will be priced in dollar value. And so what happens is under the hood, whatever the value of eShare is or energy will be converted into, the dollar at that particular moment. And why this is so important is you can actually speculate on the price of eShare, and it adds an entirely another gamification element because there may be better times, even though you have a power cycle that happened, you may actually it may benefit you to not trigger the power cycle and wait for the price of eShare to go up, so you're actually getting more for that energy value. So there's a lot going on, and a lot of people may not even care. Again, I'm talking about those that like to really min-max, the game theory. But and that's healthy because that encourages people to hold onto their energy or eShare, instead of cashing out or selling it. So all of those mechanisms are healthy for the protocol, but yeah, it will be a bit complicated under the hood, but the UI will do a great job in, telling you dollar value, what you're actually getting when you cash out, and all that will be displayed in real time. So, and Ella, I think we talk about this in the new white paper as well, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay.
We definitely dive into eShare and why it's so valuable and bullish within this new system for sure.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and again, as we continue to go, I'm happy to kind of elaborate on that more.
We don't necessarily connect it to why it's important for DOS contracts, but just in general for the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, I think that was maybe a bit of a typo, um, because it doesn't affect any DOS contract other than Reactor. So, but yeah, in terms of the overall ecosystem, and it's also cool because those of you that have been with us, and accumulated eShare at these lower prices, you're actually able to get more bang for your buck, as eShare goes up in price, because you're spending less eShare in terms of dollar value. You're getting a lot more buying power, so to speak, within the marketplace.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially if eShare, we see another, $100 eShare or higher, you're getting essentially what, 5x on buying power. So yeah, again, it's all speculative, but it's really cool in terms of game theory.
For sure. And then you did already sort of address this question. Will there be a Bitcoin or L1X battery? I think you already mentioned there will be. I did want to just add that there are going to be certain things that are released immediately when we release the MVP, and then there will be other things that will be slowly released over time. And so we did that in effort to get Fusion out as soon as possible, because truth be told, we have enough ideas that we could have kept developing for another 2 years, and
Totally.
clearly nobody wants us to do that. So we want to get it out as soon as possible. So there'll be certain things available immediately and then other things coming shortly thereafter.
Yeah, no, great point, LA. Again, when we say MVP, that means minimal viable product. And so yeah, we definitely want to get something out that works, and with that there will definitely be cash out batteries, and but what everything that we talked about in today's AMA, a lot of that will be rolled out, as we continue to build out Fusion. It's just like Ellie said, I think the community would kill us if we took another year, really making Fusion as robust as we hope it will be. But we can build. That's the cool part. We can build while Fusion is still running, which is awesome. So.
Yes. Here's another one. Can we sacrifice our EMP ETH LP on PulseChain, or do we need to bridge it over to BSC?
Yeah, so again, most likely you will have to bridge it. That's a bit on purpose and a bit because of technical reasons. So the on purpose is that you will be have to pay the bridge fee, which I know sucks for you a little bit maybe, but it's bullish for Sparkler participants. So that is something you'll have to do, even at 0.5%. And also because you can potentially open up exploits by receiving value on one chain and then applying it to another chain. So anytime you're trying to do cross-chain, value capture, it can get a little tricky. So just to avoid all of that added dev time and potential risk, you will have to bridge it back over and sacrifice. So
Cool thing is, 0.1% of those bridge fees flow directly into EMP, which
exactly.
then helps with Fusion. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and again, if you have LP on Pulse, you can buy EMP with the east side and then bridge that EMP, but all that buying pressure, back on EMP also helps us recover pegs. So, all of this is on purpose. Again, not to be, like Ella said earlier, tooting our own horn, but we're playing checkers. I mean, chess. We're playing checkers. We're playing chess and not checkers. We've thought 10 steps ahead, and all of these things will help us get to where we want to be. And it goes back to all of you in the end anyway. Like Ellie said, through either earning Sparkler fees or going into Fusion itself as part of the revenue. So.
For sure. We have one more question, and then just so I don't forget, I want to remind you, because I didn't have it on our list, to go into the announcement that you made today as well.
Yeah, no doubt. So I know it was a bit last minute. I posted it right before the AMA, but we'll highlight it now that I have the screenshots. I'll highlight it. Excuse me. I'll highlight it on Monday. But we got an update from TradeYield, and he's been crushing it. So we have some screenshots of just the last, probably less than a week, the last like 4 days, I think, based on the timestamps. And Brian's been able to, do about $50,000 in profit, and so, and that was just on our Bybit account. We have a Crypto.com account, and another one as well. So, again, super bullish in terms of yield for the treasury, and all of you that bought bonds, you know, you can rest at night knowing that we'll have the funds to cover the bond. So if you missed buying a bond, please make sure to visit EMP Bonds and buy one off the market if you still want them. There's a few that are listed now, and you know, it's a great way to diversify into kind of a crypto savings account, and it's earning every second of every day. Yeah, EMPBonds.com. So LA just posted the link. And yeah, we'll have an update, and I'm gonna have Brian on the AMA personally again. He's just, you know, with the volatility in the market, he has to be glued to the screen, but it's been paying off big time. So yeah, is that what you want me to talk about, LA? I hope. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. It's
Okay.
always exciting when we get updates from Brian. So,
Yeah, for sure. Cool. All right. Well, is there any
well,
other Q&A
yeah,
or yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
yes, I have
Okay.
a
Sorry.
couple more questions. So, can consideration please be given to increasing the EMP ETH farm reward bonus in Sparkswap from one of the other farms?
Yeah. So unfortunately, you know, the emissions when you can't rob from Peter to pay Paul. The emissions have to come from somewhere, and we have to prioritize the pools, or I'm sorry, the farms that are the most beneficial to the protocol. Right now, the EMP ETH farm is really just a courtesy to our you know original protocol investors as just another way to yield. And even now, that yield is way better, or at least a little better than you can get in EMP alone. So, yeah, the short answer is probably we don't have any plans on bumping it up. But you have to remember too. Again, I don't know when this question was asked, but when the price of Spark goes down, so does the APRs in the farm. So uh, hopefully, you know, when Pulse starts to recover, you know, and we see more positive sentiment about Pulse in general, that should hopefully raise the price of Spark, and that will increase the APR without having to divert more emissions. So, yeah, well, again, it's a fluid thing. We'll maybe ask me that question in a week or two.
Mm-hmm. And that farm also does have over $500,000 in liquidity, so
For sure.
that does affect the APR. Whereas some of the farms that might have, less than $30,000 in them, the APR is going to look a lot higher, even though the multiplier might be a lot lower. Like, for example, the farm right next to it is only a 1x, but the APR is much higher because the liquidity is much lower, and so
For sure.
um, everyone's very bullish on EMP ETH, and there's a lot deposited into that farm, and so the rewards that are allocated into that farm have to stretch farther.
Yeah, great explanation, LA. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, when we start updating a lot of the routing that we have discussed again as the alpha of what we're working on, you know, it is going to be important that we have deep liquidity on ETH. And because it's EMP ETH LP, you know, we could potentially incentivize that pool even farther. I'm sorry, I keep saying pool. We could incentivize that farm even farther because you know we need more EMP ETH and especially ETH to facilitate the swapping and the routing. So yeah, I would say the answer is definitely not no, but in the short term it's no for sure.
So here is your reminder. If you're watching the stream right now, remember to hit that like button. We're lacking on the likes right now. So we got 50 of you watching. Let's make sure everyone's hit that thumbs up.
I love it. Yes, LA, totally. Please, a like spike. Everybody, press it, please.
You've got some good stuff rolling out of your mouth tonight.
Yeah, nice.
All right, we have one more question. Quick question. EMP goes up, ETH goes up. Why does the EMP ETH LP pair go down?
So I mean, the price of EMP again is reliant on buying and selling as well. I mean, yes, we are paired to ETH, and now that ETH is looking good, I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at the chart to be honest, but I think EMP is still up. So I don't know what they're saying by that. I don't think we've seen a bunch of selling on EMP with ETH going up. Have we, LA? Maybe you can look at it, but I mean, yes, EMP ETH is paired, and when ETH goes up, it typically drags the price of EMP up with it, but that doesn't, make EMP necessarily go up the same percentage that ETH goes up. So there are a lot of other factors involved. Again, people still buy and sell EMP, and so even if ETH goes up and there's more sellers than buyers, then the price of EMP is still going to go down. So yeah, I don't know. Does that answer, LA? Was that even a question? I think it was, but
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been tracking the price of the LP. The price of EMP and ETH are both up over the last 24 hours. EMP not as much as ETH because there is still a little bit more, just a tiny bit more selling volume than buying volume.
for sure.
They're almost equal. But I wouldn't imagine that the price of the LP is going down if both assets are going up. That doesn't seem like it would be a thing, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm not a
again,
good track.
I agree 100%. I haven't looked at it, so I can't say definitively, but I would bet a large sum that yeah, that is just not true. I mean, if ETH is going up and there's not a ton of selling volume, what you just said is almost identical, then that means the LP value is up substantially as well. So yeah.
All right, so that's the ball game.
Cool. There you go. Well, that was a good one today. Again, another little bit of a long one, an hour, almost an hour and a half, but I feel like we really covered a lot, especially in the Q&A with those videos that you did. So, yeah, I mean, keep it on, everybody. We're gonna continue building. Again, unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of updates in terms of what we're releasing for Spark today, but it should be very soon. Whenever the now I'm saying it, beta testers are on it, that usually means it's super close. So keep an eye out over the weekend or early next week, and then we'll have a full recap on Monday. Again, we come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, we're gonna close out the year strong. Again, Jake is moving on Fusion, and we're hoping again. LA will yell at me, but we're hoping to have an announcement on that ASAP, and just take this time to take profit on those big movements on your blue chips. And really get a great position in EMP before we release Fusion and all of our ecosystem. So and we didn't even really talk about that, but yeah, the market's looking great. I do think we're going to see a pullback eventually, but for right now, enjoy the gains for sure. So, all right, awesome. LA, any final words?
Thank you guys for joining us. We love you. We're super pumped for everything that's coming. Keep watch because there's going to be lots rolling out, both on the Fusion and Sparkswap sides very shortly over the next week or two. And we are also working on getting you some updates on L1 Dex as well. So keep watch. We're going to have lots of updates and stuff coming out. So there should be lots of excitement to come.
All right, there you go. On that note, we'll wrap it up. Thank you, LA, as always. Shout out to all of you again for showing up. If you have not hit the like button, please do so on your way out. Please comment and subscribe as well. The more viewers and the more engagement, the better for all of us. And we will do it all again next week. So good night, good day. We'll see you on Monday.